Welcome back. Welcome into the Lions Share podcast, post Packers edition, not the bonus edition. This is the full show here on Sunday, back as usual with the three of us. And we also have an outcome on the Eagles Panthers as well as the Falcons Vikings. And spoiler alert, Lions did not get any help today in that trek for the one seed. The road to the one seed continues to be tough, and the Lions continue to hold that spot for right now, but with 4 games remaining, we'll talk a little bit more about what the outlook looks like going forward here with the last 4. So, Mitch is back with us. Andrew and I did a little bonus episode. For those who didn't catch it, you go check it out. It's a little 30-minute. It's on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, the usuals. But I'd like to give the floor to you, Mitch. We got to talk at some length about the game against the Packers. What did you take in from Thursday Night Football?
It was very emotional. I feel like it's never just easy against the Packers. But they found a way to get it done. I feel like our predictions were pretty spot on. I thought it was going to be high scoring and the Packers were more or less going to have their way. That was not the case at all. You take away 2 less than 30-yard drives for scores, and the defense had a pretty solid day. I mean, listen, you'll be able to go find anything you want about just Google Detroit Lions, and you'll be able to find any kind of, I don't know, analyst or whoever you want to listen to that's going to talk about how impressive it is that the Lions are doing what they're doing on defense with the guys that they're doing it with. So, I'm not as eloquent as some of those guys, but I think it's just incredible. Like, you picked up Quan Alexander and Jamal Adams, and they haven't even been with the team a full calendar week, and they're making plays on defense. It's actually insane, but the guys are just flying around out there. Like, I feel like at a certain point you got to just be telling those guys, like, if you're gonna make a mistake, just do it at 1,000 miles per hour. And we saw that, right? Like, Josh Jacobs was getting some yards, but the Honolulu Blue was flying around to the point where they were laying the wood, and they got to Jordan Love early, and they got in his head early. Sack on the first play is huge, and it showed throughout the rest of the day. I think it helps that Zadarius Smith got to pimp slap Jordan Love and got away with it. That doesn't hurt anything. Great win. And then, as usual, Dan in the locker room after has me ready to just run through 18 brick walls without even taking a breath and then chewing up the crunch brick when it's laying on the ground. I just think, like, those guys would do anything for him. And that's why they win. That's why they're 12-1. It's awesome to see.
Yeah, first of all, you are, sir, very eloquent, so don't sell yourself short on that one. Second of all, yeah, it seems like every week we talk about how great these post-game locker rooms are, and they just seemingly can't get any better, and then the next week it's topped once again. And obviously it's a little elevated with a primetime matchup as well as a huge divisional matchup against the Packers team, who they've won 6 of the last 7 against, by the way. So that makes it so sweeter. But third thing that I was going to bring up about that is were you guys surprised that even with Aleem going down early with the head injury that does now seem more like a jaw injury, first thought maybe more concussion. Andrew, shout out to you for the concussion or the jaw bring up from a couple weeks ago. Seems like that goes way back. We'll talk about what that injury for Aleem is, but were you guys surprised even once he's gone these guys on the D-line were still able to manage the game like they were and also still hold Jacobs to only 66 yards? Less than he had against them the first time around.
It's just insanely impressive. Like, you got O'Connor out there making plays like he's an all-pro. That's got to be so frustrating for opposing players, but also opposing offensive coordinators when they're like, who are these guys? Like, how did they even have time to get their names on the back of their jerseys? And again, it speaks volumes to the culture in Detroit, which again, I'm sure people are tired of hearing about. But Aaron Glenn, to me, I think the scary thing about the offseason is we're probably trying to replace a defensive and offensive coordinator. I think Aaron Glenn is going to be a stud head coach in the NFL, and he has shown why this year. He has put on a masterclass this year of how to be a coach. He's done an incredible job, and again, these pickups that they're doing and this next guy up mentality just shows over and over and over again. And yeah, I mean, Aleem goes down and it's like, oh shit, like Aleem is an absolute stud, an all pro, and it might get ugly. Just not the case. I mean, they just keep finding ways to plug in guys on defense and just roll with what they've got.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to catch up to him at some point, and yet it still hasn't.
Yeah, and I mean, we've heard all the credit to the coaching staff and everything. Don't know if I've heard it enough, if I've heard it at all, but credit to Brad Holmes as well. Don't just try to go get one piece to fill holes like he's going and doing it by committee. He'll go pick up, just guys, hey, you want to get some tape on field? We could use a body this week. Come prove yourself. Hey, I've already paid tons of guys. Prove it deals. Get in here. Get some tape going. I mean, it does it by committee. Gets Aaron Glenn hey, we're not flashy, but you can rotate in and you can have fresh legs all day. So do what you can with what you got. And they did exactly that.
Yeah, Andrew, I think that's a great point that you bring up. A lot of the press that is out there is for the defense. Obviously, Aaron Glenn, Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes for the guys he got drafted, but I don't think as much about the guys he's picking up off of practice squads. And when you're picking off other teams' practice squads, you really got to dig deep on picking up those guys, especially now after the trade deadline. I mean, you are evaluating very limited tape on people and bringing these guys in. It never ceases to amaze me on how well they bring in talent from other teams, and just bring in guys that seem to embody the grit that Dan brings up.
Yeah, and not only that, but Brad works with the coaching staff hand in hand. He goes and gets Quan. Quan was familiar with Dan and AG. They got Jamal. Jamal was familiar with AG in the past. So it's not like they're going in like what you're saying. They're not even there for a calendar week, and they have to come in and learn this system. AG not only kept it simple for him, but he's got guys that he's had before, so he knows what they're capable of.
Yeah, playing to their strengths, which not everybody's. It seems like a simple thing, but not everybody does it, and these guys do it right. And once again, we goes back to us. Just it's unfamiliar territory for us as a Lions fan. It's a weird feeling to see things being done the right way. We were in an environment that is just nothing went the right way. Mitch, much has been made about nicknames on this podcast, things that I've come up with. But how did you react to Dan's idea of calling the defense the Northern Savages?
I'm in 1,000%. It's the best thing that could have happened to the Lions this year.
Andrew, what do you think about the Northern Savages?
Oh, Ben, you knew before you asked the question I was all in on that. I mean, leave it to Dan Campbell to come up with something like that, too.
And noticed after the game, Holly, his wife, had coffee with him the next morning. They were at looked like a diner maybe the next morning. I don't know if you guys caught that picture, but I don't know about you guys. How well did you sleep that night after the game? And could you imagine being the coach of that game and going out the next morning to a diner? I don't know if I'd have the energy for that.
I feel like these guys are just so nonstop NFL. They've got to just look to soak up any time they can for their family. I mean, kudos to Dan. And I think he sleeps maybe 4 hours a night, if that. I don't know that I think like a joke society must just live off coffee and water. Maybe just coffee.
I mean, Andrew, you had to call me at the end of that game just to kind of calm your nerves and talk about it, so to speak. I know for myself, speaking on myself, it was hard to go to sleep. It took me probably an hour to go to sleep after that. And even after that, it was still in and out. So I know with the emotions that we have in these games invested, I'm sure it was a struggle for you as well.
Yeah, man, it was kind of a throwback for us. That's how we used to do it. Before the pod, that's what it used to be all about. Hey, let's get a quick 30, 45-minute call in here. And by the way, pretty much every big situation, I'm gonna call you. That's what it's gonna be.
And that's what it's all about. That's what we did. Like you said, it was a little bit of a throwback, especially after moving states for myself. We had some distance between us, so the phone call was the option. Yeah, I miss those times, but I also love that we do this podcast now and we can talk about it in what distance we are away. It doesn't really matter. So it's great. And also, looking forward to next week against the Bills. They're obviously not in prime time next week, but with a 4:25 on CBS. So, Mitch, you were big on focusing on that. Was get through that Packers game, try to stay healthy, try to win. Absolutely got to win that game. But you're really looking forward to this little mini bye. What do you think that does for this team? What do you guys think that means for this team in such a long season?
Obviously the eyes are the goal are the number one seed, and they need it desperately for so many reasons. But even a week like this week where you can throw in an extra few days has got to be so big for. Not even the guys that are injured. Obviously the guys that are injured, but just the guys that are playing through, the minor stuff, the bruises, the aches, the pains. 3 extra days has got to feel just incredible. So, it's got to be big for them, big for the coaching staff to get ready, and even more crucial going into next week against a red-hot Bills offense.
Yeah, speaking of the Bills, they're taking on the Rams right now, and it looks like the Rams have widened their lead to 44-35 with just a few minutes left. Andrew, you may have been keeping eyes on this. Do you have any update for us on what's transpired?
Yeah, you nailed it. 44-35. The Rams, not long ago, were driving, got it to a 4th and 5 situation, and huge play call by McVay. They get the first down, leads to a touchdown, and that's I'm assuming that's how this game's going to end, no matter what Buffalo does.
Yeah, that hurts. We'll talk more on the Bills game next week and a little later here in this episode. Want to get back to that little mini bye that we have. Did you guys catch what Penei Sewell said when he was asked about these extra days off with the Thursday to Sunday? No, he said he was just looking forward to sitting on the couch. That's all he wanted to do. Sit down with the child and the wife, and just like you said, Mitch, enjoy some of that family time that they don't get a lot of. Speaking back to Dan too, he had that diner date with the wife on Friday, and then they hit the movies last night. I saw they were at the movie theater taking in a movie. So that's one of their favorite things to do.
What are you tailing these guys?
Yeah, Holly Campbell is a great follow on Instagram. She gives you some light into Dan Campbell, which I feel like doesn't get talked about in the media at all, and I'm surprised that it doesn't get more, just because there's such a infatuation with Dan and what he's all about. So I'm surprised that doesn't get more press.
Oh, buddy, the Lady Lions are all around us. So good on you to keep tabs there.
Yeah, yes they are, and I think it was a preseason interview from training camp this year. He talked about, how important that time is for him. Dan did, and spoke about like the favorite thing that they like to do is go to the movies, get a Coke and some popcorn, and take in a movie. That's still one of their favorite things to do, even with the, the rise of the Lions and obviously the rise of his popularity. It's hard for those guys to go anywhere without getting recognized, especially in Michigan. So that's what we're looking for with the little extra bye here, a little mini bye. So obviously Decker missed the last 2 games. You hope that means he's ready to go against the Bills. So if the Bills do ultimately lose this game, which it does look like they do, what do you guys think? Do you guys feel different about that matchup with the Bills and Lions? Obviously, we'll make our predictions on Wednesday, but does this change the way you guys look at this game if the Bills are coming off of a loss?
I'd rather have them off of a win. I'd rather have a team off of an exhausting, emotional win. I don't. It's almost like next man up, next game up type of thing for the Lions right now. But yeah, I think it kind of goes without saying, any NFL team is much hungrier off of a win, especially if the Chiefs win tonight. I think the Bills come out really, really swinging next week. So go Chargers.
Go Chargers in Sunday Night Football. Yeah, looking forward to that match. But that's huge in the AFC. If the Rams do win this game, they come into this game 6-6. This is, speaks to why they probably went for it on 4th down. It's really their season here with the Seahawks winning today over the Cardinals. Seahawks have created some distance now with the Cardinals now below 500, 6-7. Rams at 6-6, and Seahawks at 8-5. Rams with a win here would bump themselves up to 7-6, one game back of the Seahawks, and I don't know who has the tiebreaker over those two teams. Obviously, though, I think they still got to play each other once more before the season's over. But sorry, Mitch, I saw you hit the mic. I thought you had something there. It's all good. But yeah, I mean, it's a huge win if the Rams get the win here, which it looks like they will. They'll be 7-6 and trying to find a way to win that NFC West, which continues to still be wide open, even
Buffalo
with the Seahawks
about to score.
Ooh, yeah, yep. See him on the 7-yard line, looks like. So that one's not over. I mean, they've got 3 timeouts. They are not out of that game. But wow, what a high scoring game. Didn't expect it to be that high scoring. We're probably gonna have both these teams in the 40s by the end of it. Yeah, that as Mitch alluded to, I'd love to see this game go to overtime, but with 9 points, it's gonna be tough for that to happen. Andrew, I'm seeing a reaction from you. YouTubers are gonna get a show right now.
I think I just upset the neighbors. This is such a weak penalty that they're going to call in the end zone on the Rams. It's going to give them 1st and goal from the 1. This is bad. The fix is in.
They want the
Fix is
Bills
in. You
to
sound
be.
like a Packers fan, bud.
Ooh, yeah, those. How about that, guys? Were you guys
Lots
surprised?
of whining this week from the cheeseheads. I don't know. Maybe your star safety should do more than just go like this every time a catch. Xavier McKinney just doing this every time a catch is made. Jordan Love's body language is horrendous. I don't know. But definitely the refs. And I'm not going to sit here and say St. Brown probably got away with a push-off there. That's okay to talk about. I'm fine with that.
That's his.
Zadarius
But
Smith
how many times have we?
Yeah, no,
How many times have we
I
seen
agree.
St. Brown do
They
that?
could have called it. That's what I'm saying. Zadarius Smith got away with one. That's a no-doubter. But, like, these guys calling for holds and dirty hits. It's stop. Do we
the
not
dirty hits thing is
remember?
crazy.
Are we just going to forget the phantom face mask on the Hail Mary? The hands to the face? Shut the fuck up, okay? You've had yours in the past. Tommy can bleep it out. Yeah, that's fine. These Packers fans are just so any excuse in the book other than just you got outplayed and you got outcoached. Welcome to the Pine Pony. That's where you'll be at for the long term in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's those words are missed on me. I mean, I saw a supercut of all the. Looks like we got a touchdown in that game. Yes, I'm seeing it. Though, yeah, I don't have any real sympathy on that one. When we got a late flag too, a little unsportsmanlike conduct perhaps in that one.
Quay Walker in this game?
I was actually told by the Lady Lion this is something that they really like, or at least my Lady Lion really loves the extracurriculars after plays.
Oh, she likes a little
Interesting.
feisty action. Think I may have heard her in the background after that one. That's interesting. That's kind of a weak penalty, I think, if I saw the replay correctly.
Agreed, and I'm gonna have to know from some of the other Lady Lions out there. Is that what we're tuning in for? Do we like to see that? Because I'm for it.
Oh, guys, I mean, we want to talk about the physicality in the Lions Packers game. Oh, that was theater,
Chippy,
and that was
listen,
great.
I love it. It is. I have never hated the Packers more than I did on Thursday, and the Lion. I think the Lions and the Packers players feel the same. I think we have the Packers. I think are the youngest team in the NFL. I think we have a long-term, legitimate rivalry brewing, and I think it's going to be great for the NFL. It's fun. I mean, it's stressful and it sucks when you lose. We've felt that a ton. Luckily we've been on the better side of late, but it makes the passion so much more palpable, and like the game, you're just into the game so much more. So it's great.
Well, Mitch, since you're bringing it up, let me ask you this, because Ben and I were floating it around off air, and we talked about it like with the Michigan-Ohio State matchup. Like rivalries are like what football is all about, right? That's what college football is all about. Rivalry weekend. How does this sound to you? And I don't know if it's possible. Maybe it's not. Every Thursday night game should be a divisional matchup.
Yeah. So I added on to that. I saw that in the notes. I love that. And I think in addition to that, it should be, well, no, now I might take it back. Now I might take it back because if it's a divisional game, you kind of already have that there. Here's my counter. If they're not going to do that, which I think is a good idea, I think that's plan A. Plan B is to go back to the color rush. I am going to stick with, if we're going to have Thursday night football every single week, you have to do something to differentiate it other than just having Ryan Fitzpatrick on the show. Something else has to be done.
To that I say, why not both? But I mean,
Yeah.
my big thing is like every game is now very important. It's must win. It's chippier. It's more engaging for fans, especially this time of season. And I get why they backload the divisional games, but
The only reason I say no to the color rush interdivision because Thursday night was awesome, and like the pictures of Thursday night are going to be awesome because it's the Lions in their uniforms and the Packers in theirs. I think the color rush takes away from that a little bit.
Yeah, like the classic
looks, yeah.
the tradition of it.
that's fair enough. That maybe that's you just like literally that's your throwback week.
Now I'm back. Now I'm all the way back in. Throwback week is Thursday night football.
And I think it makes sense, Andrew. I don't know, like you said, I don't know the logistics of all that to make that happen. We don't know. We're not the schedule makers, but who says no?
I think the problem there is if you're the NFL, and I don't know how long Amazon's deal for Thursday night football is, but if you're the NFL and you're trying to sell the Thursday night package, who's going to tune into like the AFC South? Who's going to turn into the NFC South? You know what I mean? Like that's the risk you run when you do like.
There's always a bad division.
Yeah, like you just kind of that's where it gets tough. And sometimes those are a miss. Like Monday Night Football is a huge miss. Like Cowboys, Bengals, who cares?
I was just gonna say that you have misses on your other prime times. My whole thing is it makes a majority of those games mean something, and then you're gonna have a harder game because there's been so many stinkers on Thursday night. Like there's got to be a way to improve it.
And I think that's it. I think you just answered it. And like you said, there are going to be bad divisions, but they still do get elevated matchups. Like we had the Dolphins and the Jets this week, and that matchup on paper doesn't look great, but it made for fun football. It was 36-20 or 26-32. And some divisions aren't built the same. Not all divisions are built equal, but what more do you want, Mitch, to answer your question about how long does Amazon have Thursday night football? All the way till 2033. How much do you think they pay per year for those rights? Per year.
Oh my God, it's got to be something so disgusting. $1 billion?
Yeah. $1 billion a year is what it comes out to for I think they got a 12-year deal? 12 years?
That's stupid.
So $12 billion for 12 years of just one game. Just one game.
So I want all the old curmudgeons who bitch and moan when these guys get massive contracts to just think about how much the owners are making. It's like stop.
It's
It's
insane.
a rated R podcast, folks.
Sorry. I took a bonus episode. Did I say 2 episodes? Just a bonus episode off? Yeah, bonus episode. Now I'm all fired up.
You're in the middle of moving, so that'll happen. And look, we're between the holidays right now. We're between Thanksgiving and we're between Christmas, so I think you can get away with a little bit more, flavor in your speak right now. Rams 44, Bills 42, with a 4th and 2 coming up with 6 seconds. I think the Rams are on like their own, or on the Bills 30, or right around there. So we'll see if they do. What do you do in this situation? Have Stafford run backwards for a little bit and throw it up?
I was going to say close, but you pitch it to your fastest player. It's probably a pitch to the open side of the field, and you give him 3 lead blockers in it. You bring 2 tight ends.
I mean,
if only
they were up
try
by
to run the clock.
If only they were up by 3, then I would just say, just have someone take a direct snap and just sprint to the back of the end zone for a safety.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah. If you're up 3, you can do that.
If you're
for
up
sure.
3, yeah, that's a beautiful move. That's Belichick-esque.
Yeah, that's a
I
wrinkle.
think they can still do it. I mean, they have to have some kind of. Yeah, you don't want to get too trinket with it, but like, yeah, if you have any wildcat package, that's exactly what you tell the guy to do. Like, take the snap and just, like, we will give you 7 seconds and then just run out of bounds.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Bringing
You
out the
bring in
puncher
2
now.
tight ends, you send 1 tight end in motion, and as he passes the quarterback, you snap it. You get 1 tight end out front, you pull your front guard, you got a lead blocker there, and then you've got the back that he's now behind, and that guy just
Okay, well, it's over. So it's
runs
okay.
in circles. But there it is.
And it's over. They punt it into the end zone. It takes all 7 seconds off. There you go. That's how you do it.
Good hang time.
It was incredible hang time. Perfectly timed. I think it hit right at 0 seconds.
Punters
No.
should get paid too.
Could get toasted for those comments, those play calls.
No.
Sorry, we're
us?
trying to bring more fun to the game.
Yeah. Mitch, I see you've got in here the, or at least Brian Branch's PFF score. Did you catch? I wanted to mention this when you talked about Pat O'Connor, but did you catch what Pat O'Connor's was?
Pat O'Connor's was bad, but Pat O'Connor is not a like presumptive like all pro, super hyped up. The dude's just happy to be there. You hear him and he's just like running out of the tunnel is a dream for me. Andrew, did you have something?
I was just going to say, this is why I don't trust the PFF scores.
Well, you think Brian Branch
think
played a good game?
I don't think Pat O'Connor played a bad game for what his role was. Not at all.
I think Brian
I think
Branch needs to learn how to go like this with his arms out and then go like this.
Yeah. I don't
I
think
mean,
he
I
does
love
that.
Brian Branch. Like his entire thing is like he flies around the field. You can't just do like. To be honest, he got away with one on Josh Jacobs. He's lucky Josh Jacobs like didn't put his shoulder down. You can't do that to guys in the NFL all the time. Like
That's way too
you
high.
have to learn how to wrap up and tackle. And then the play I think we all took exception to was when he came in on a blitz with just like the softest effort, like just poopy effort is what I saw there.
You know what that reminded me of?
What?
Barnes last year against the Cowboys,
Yes.
Dak Prescott.
Yes, he just ran by him. It's crazy. Yeah, again, I love Brian Branch. I think he's a game changer, but I think he didn't play well. And I think the tackling thing or just constantly trying to truck stick people has been a bit of a theme this year. And you can't always do that to guys in the NFL. Guys in the NFL will make you pay for that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely right. Especially against these top premier teams, you can't get away with that kind of stuff. We do need help from the Packers, though. We do. I feel like we do, at least against the Vikings coming up here in week. I think it's 17.
Yes.
We need them. We need them. So they can
Enemies
win
to
that game.
friends. That
I
quick.
think the Packers are. I was talking to a Packers fan. Shout out if you're listening. I'm not going to name drop, but he said if he is LaFleur, he's calling Jordan Love and Xavier McKinney into his office and saying, "You guys got C's on your chest. You need to act like it." And I think that's pretty valid. Because I know I already talked about it, but Xavier McKinney just throwing his arms up every time a pass gets complete over the middle, which was a ton. The open of, ladies and gentlemen, offensive coordinators of the NFL, the middle of the field is open against the Packers. Their linebackers are doo-doo splats in pass coverage. But also, like, every time the Packers come off the field, Jordan Love instantly, towel on his head, sitting on the bench. It's like, what happened to you this week, my man? Who hurt your feelings? It's crazy.
Yeah. You want to talk about money? He's getting paid a ton of money, and 12 completions on the day for Jordan
for
Love.
half of a season. That's another thing. I don't get the Jordan Love hype. I don't. I think he's a good quarterback. He played a really good half of a season and got paid.
What is the stat, too? He's the second, even with the games he's missed, he's still the second most intercepted quarterback in the league.
He loves it.
Was that a pun?
We need some help from the Packers, and we are all Steelers fans next week, folks. We all want Steelers.
Yeah, if the Eagles are going to drop one, it's probably next week against the Steelers. And maybe the Commanders, because the Commanders played them tough in Philly. So hopefully, they get a little bump in Washington at home. Andrew's shaking his head. Buddy, come on. You don't believe in the Commanders? Still on the fraud talk? Okay. No voices, just L's. Just L's on the forehead. In the shape of an L on your forehead. Well, the years start coming and they don't stop coming. Andrew, you had the singing last time, so I had to get a little
nice
rendition in for myself.
Yeah, so I know you guys kind of broke the game down. Ben, I don't know how much more in depth you want to go, but I feel like you guys summed it up really, really well on Friday. I've obviously gone on my high horse in a profanity laden rant against the Packers and Packers fans. So I'm feeling better.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you some context too is, we post the predictions each and every week for the upcoming Lions game on our TikTok and Instagram as well. But always the TikTok generates a lot more views, and the comments were strong. We get a lot of Lions fans in our comments, but this week it seemed like we were barraged by the Green Bay faithful, and a lot of people neutral to this game who were taking the Packers. I was surprised at how many Packers people and how confident they were coming into that game. A lot of people calling us what were they? They calling us the Three Stooges?
I saw Three Stooges in there. Yeah, listen, we're bound to mess up a rookie contract every once in a while. We've said many, many times, we're not cap experts, we're not contract guys. Hand up on that stuff. If you're going to come in the comments and just ask for the smoke, you better come back when you lose. You better come back and start replying to your own comments. A written apology is okay. Two of us had really close scores because we know ball. Just because we don't know contracts doesn't mean we don't know ball. All you cheeseheads out there that just, what did you think you thought you'd have a better chance in Ford Field, the most ruckus stadium in the NFL? It's madness. Madness.
Yeah.
I'm Curly.
These folks are so loud before the game. What's the Curly comment?
He's one of the Stooges.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Curly.
Okay. Yeah. These folks in the comments, and you know what I loved about that is, here on the Lions Share podcast, we don't always interact with these folks because there were a lot of them last week. However, my favorite part was folks unaffiliated with us going after these guys that were talking shit before the game on our behalf. That we don't even need to do it.
I love that.
We've got the Knights going out and fighting the battles for us.
Shareholders.
Yes, shareholders. Got to get it right. But that was entertaining, especially the guy that duetted our video and just didn't say anything, didn't add anything, just laughed at us. And yeah, I mean, kudos to him. He kept it up. He didn't delete it after the game. So I guess I got to give him some credit there. But yeah, that's always fun each and every week. That's a lot of fun. I want to talk about Ford Field, Mitch, since you brought it up. I put this in the notes. Obviously, incredibly loud. It was like a playoff atmosphere against the Packers for sure. But also on offense, it's so quiet in there. You could hear a pin drop. And obviously we're biased, but no other stadium is as quiet as Detroit. I think Ford Field is only one that gets that quiet while the home team is on offense.
The fans know what they're doing. We know ball. The fans know ball. Detroit knows ball.
Not only loud, but football IQ high too.
Yeah, not only that, but street smart. They're sneaking whole blocks of cheese in, cheese graters. They're getting weapons in there. They're outsmarting the security staff. These are a smart fan base.
Or they're greasing the security staff. We're not too sure. Either way, we commend it. And it's worthy of an applause. And how about shout out to Amazon too for catching that. That moment goes down in lore.
Can I also say though, a reverse shout out to the player to watch, red orb of death? That is so obnoxious. Stop it. Don't do that.
Let me one up you here. Let me one up you on the annoying things because I love Amazon Prime. Don't get me wrong, love it. But it was giving you the open areas where the open field was, like open blocks. It was before the ball was snapped. It was past the defense, was always wide open. Could you tell? It's crazy.
Yes. I'm glad you brought it up, Mitch, because I had the same thoughts. I thought maybe I had something turned on. I thought I had like an overlay on, and I guess not. I guess it's just everybody gets that.
No, it was something orb, like red orb of whatever. Like, no, we don't need to. We don't need to see that. Like, I don't mind every once in a while if you're gonna do like key player, or, when the actual football analyst, but just trying to AI your way into like, watch these guys because they're creeping up to the line of scrimmage. Like, okay, let's turn that button off next time.
Mitchell, and how about this? Because here was something I saw on from another fan later. Was on one of their touchdowns, I believe one of the Tim Patrick touchdowns, Amon-Ra went into the backfield as basically lined up as a running back, where Jahmyr Gibbs took his normal spot, split out wide to the left in a bunch formation.
Which I wish they would do more. Continue.
And completely confused Green Bay's D, but like prime vision, that's the perfect thing to call out.
Yeah, so basically like it needs to be smarter AI and not just, again, here's the guys running up to the line potentially blitzing.
Right.
Ben, as our resident Mitchell, how'd you phrase that earlier?
Nerd.
Oh, okay.
We're bringing up off-air things now.
I'm just wondering on the
ride this train,
how many
Andrew?
years, how many weeks does it need to learn before we're getting there?
Well, I would say probably he's got to have a full season under it with every, all 32 teams to really machine learn its way into it. I think it's probably not going away, unfortunately, but
I think Ben's right, though. I can't believe you just aired our dirty laundry and our behind-the-scenes scraps on air like that.
Yeah. Yeah, Andrew, do you want me to enlighten the shareholders on things that you said?
He really did poop his pants.
Is that why his tag this week, every week we can put our own names in here? And playing injured, yeah. What's the story?
Is he going to defend himself?
I was at a family event today. I did get asked if I James Houston myself during a family photo, so it's tough.
R.I.P. to James Houston, no longer on the team. I think he got signed to the Browns. I think the Browns signed James Houston, or at least to the practice squad. So he's got a home, I guess. Yeah. I hadn't even thought about that. That is, where's the button?
High-level analysis.
Yeah, no, that's the most analysis you'll ever get on this podcast. Yeah, we're not experts, but we've got a lot of, and we know ball. You know how we know ball? This running season total, 135 and 69, nice for me. Mitch, 131 and 73. Andrew, nice. 124 and 80. I don't know how to do percentages, but I want to say that we're all like.
We know enough ball. I've been waiting to apologize or just acknowledge that contract thing for so long.
And now here it is buried in an episode that crazy. Yeah, that was tough. And our most viewed video ever on TikTok.
Yeah, by a long shot. Everyone's just like, these guys are morons.
Hey, that was actually bait. We'll just come out and say like we know what that was. We were just baiting people. We're like a Woodward Sports out here trying to get engagement. No one does it like Woodward Sports. I'll tell you that for sure. Andrew's got a 60 win percentage, 60%. I'm at 66%. Mitch, you would be at 64%.
64,
Yep. We're all right there.
We're gonna have to look back at our. I don't remember the season totals from last year, but I feel like personally I'm blowing my last year's
better.
Out of the water.
Dude, you're way better.
Yeah, no, it's not even close.
Yeah, dude, you are so much better than last year.
You are 44 games above 500. Or that's uncharted territory for you.
I would say,
you've never.
Off the top of my head, I would say you're at least 25 wins ahead of where you were last year at this point.
So you're saying it's time to start hitting the risky button?
The baloney button?
Yeah.
Shut the
to the max.
The baloney hath been slung. Nice.
Yeah.
That's another thing I had to ask the Packers fan about. I was like, what's going on here? Did St. Brown do this? And he's like, no, he was making fun of them. Andrew, or not Andrew, I'm sorry. Or Andrew, I'll ask you. Would now be a good time to do our halftime capsules?
Let me just get those queued up here. Need just a couple minutes.
And by halftime capsules, do you mean BAM players?
That's what I said.
Uh-huh. I know how you work.
I mean, you get the longest document of all time. I can't read all this.
Yeah, no, it's actually bad.
No, and
Amen.
actually, if you know how to read, halftime capsules is before band players.
Yeah, but Tommy doesn't have him loaded, so we're gonna go to band players.
Mm, mm, mm.
Yeah, funny
I'll
how that
start.
works, right?
DC. I think we talked about it. I think an argument could be made for Aaron Glenn and the entire coaching staff, but I think it's just Dan Campbell special. It's his team again. He's picking up guys off the streets, and they're like, "Yeah, I'll come play my ass off for you." My vote is Dan Campbell.
Destination.
Mitch, I second old DC there with you, but I also want to, the rest of the coaching staff, Brad Holmes as well, like I said, going and getting a bunch of pieces and did it by committee. And also the fans, man. I had a couple shareholders that I knew of in attendance and said it sounded like an airport, couldn't hear themselves, couldn't hear the people next to them. Absolutely blowing out the decibel rating there. So it's on the fans. And we mentioned Cheese Grater, man.
Yeah. How can you not have Cheese Grater Man on the list? That's on my list as well, my honorable mention. Player-wise, it's going to be St. Brown for me. Just some big catches down the stretch. I think maybe that got overlooked by some of the other play from other guys, but so many guys on this team. Total team effort, coaching staff, everybody deserving of a huge win in the division. I think if we revision this podcast into what this podcast would be without a win here against the Packers, we would be in a completely different mood, especially with the Eagles winning and the Vikings winning. We would be in a tough place. Lions 12-1 and Minnesota 11-2. We would be sitting with a tie right now for the NFC North if Detroit lost against Green Bay. So could totally change the landscape of the playoffs and just the NFC as a whole. So there's your BAM's Player of the Week. Vote down below, shareholders on Spotify. Scroll down below the player and vote there, or vote in the comments on YouTube as well as any of the social medias. We look forward to hearing from you. Andrew, he's walking away. I was just going to give him an update. He's running, actually. He's got a little trot going. I was going to give him an update on
James
what
Houston
his
situation.
It may very well be a James Houston situation. I was going to update him on what his record was last year, and actually, it's not as different as I thought it was going to be. This year, at this point, Andrew was 129-90. Oh, sorry, 100. He is at 124-80.
So he's wait.
I know.
Is he worse this year?
No, he's better this year. But 120. Did I say 129? 120 and 90.
Oh, okay.
Andrew, we were just discussing.
Wait, Ben, say it again.
It's confusing because at this point last year, I think they'd played less games in the NFL because of how the byes got spread out and the holidays and everything. So at this point last year, which was we had less games in or more, I don't know. Andrew, you were sitting at 120 and 90 last year. Now this year, 124-80.
Okay, but the percentage is much better.
I was going to say, Mitch, off just a tad on your guess there.
But the gating is much better because you have 10 less incorrect predictions and 4 more wins.
That's right.
Well, we gotta leave improvement for next year, so we can't
sandbagging.
We can't excel too much. Our goals are going to get raised way too high.
If I had a dollar.
And Mitch and I basically sitting at the same part. I'm 135-69 last year at this point, 136-74.
So you're just a pervert, Ben.
Yeah. Well, this is with 2 games remaining in this week, so it's only 69 until 5 hours from now.
Oh, I was not talking about that.
Yeah. What were you talking about then?
I don't remember.
He's got a short-term memory loss. And you were 135-75 at this point last year.
Okay.
So you're right there. I got to get to the original document. I've got.
You're the halftime capsules up, or
we just did the halftime capsules.
We did.
No, Tommy doesn't have them.
What the production value on this? We're getting the most views we've ever gotten, and we're losing production value.
I know the correlation's just not there. It's just not there. I mean, we could pretend like they were just right there and be like, oh, it's weird. They glitched out. It's weird. You guys want to talk about Aiden potentially being back for the NFC Championship now, according to Jay Glazer?
Seems
Andrew
pretty
says
good.
no. Originally, it was the Super Bowl.
I don't want to talk about the NFC Championship game just yet.
Fair. I'm right in the same camp as you. I didn't like when people were saying the same thing about when he was apparently available to return for the Super Bowl. Nothing's guaranteed, folks. Nothing's guaranteed. They've locked themselves into the playoffs, and that's it. They don't have anything else. Nothing else is guaranteed besides that. And with 4 games remaining, probably right now is the time to talk about it. If the Lions win out, obviously they'll have the 1 seed. If they lose one to the Bills, that's better than losing to an NFC team. You lose to an AFC team, that would, if they lose to the Bills and the Philly and the Eagles win out, the Lions would have the tiebreaker. So, but if they lose to an NFC team, the Bears, the Vikings, or the 49ers, they would need Philly to lose one and the Vikings to lose 2. Of course, the Lions and the Vikings play Week 18. So that's got implications. And so does Vikings versus the Packers the week prior to that. So these teams will be, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Lions still have to go out and continue to play and win, and obviously need a little bit of help if they lose. So it's really what it comes down to. Andrew, you got a picture here from a shareholder, potentially, with Alex Anzalone. That was cool. Did you guys notice the mic? So I'm assuming that the Lions are going to come out with a little Anzalone mic'd up if it's not already out. That's fun. He was sitting up there in the press box, or the suite with Aiden, right?
So
Yeah, man,
that's
what we saw. It's going to be interesting to see if he is mic'd up. It'll be fun, but oh man, what a time to be alive. Thursday football against Green Bay, and you got you're up in a box. You got Anza stopping by. Woo, that's
sick. Yeah, no, that's sick. And we're hoping we have Anzalone back here in a couple weeks after he returns off of his injury. We talked about Aleem. Aleem's got like a weird jaw thing going on. Andrew, I sent you that tweet.
There's a name for it, and I can't pronounce it. I don't know if you guys have given that a shot yet, but there's an actual name, and it's very hard to pronounce.
Calculating. Andrew, I don't know if it was in the tweet that I sent you from that doctor, who does a great job, by the way. Great follow on Twitter if you're looking for Lions-specific injury evaluations. That guy's got good analysis. It's Dr. Jimmy Liao. Chronic TMG. Obviously, the TMG is a...
Find the full name and try to say it.
This could be fun. I've heard of TMJ before.
TMG or TMJ?
Both. Temporomandibular joint.
Oh, nailed it.
Andrew? Got anything on this?
If you don't know what it means, you can't afford it.
And if you don't know, now you know. So the suspicion behind Aleem's thing is the chronic TMG. Nerve pain, other things also possible. Initially had this injury pop up last year, right about a year ago in the 2023 season. He was down for a bit, and he had symptoms again here on the 10th. And then it seems like it's coming back now with the jaw. We had it against the Texans. Andrew, you pointed out that one, and now it seems like it's back again after getting another blow. Potentially a lingering thing, it sounds like, which is not great for him or the Lions.
Yeah, here's some fixes. He's gonna be on some soft foods all week. He's gonna be getting some icy hot to the face from the looks of it, hot and cold. Don't know if it's gonna be the mixture. And then he's got to be working out the jaw from the looks of it. He's just got to strengthen his jaw. So I don't know what they're going to be having him do in-house, but it's going to be strenuous. Sorry. Threw an X on there.
And I'm not sure if you caught the sound effect that was placed in there. I think Tommy hit the button a little soon on that one.
Check Tommy's pants.
Yeah, we may have a couple James Houstons on this podcast. My goodness. we better end this thing before it gets even more weird. But yeah, thanks for the little PT update there. That's all things, posture training, wearing a mouth guard, ice and hot packs. He's got to be doing all the things if he wants to return here. Number 54 in the Honolulu Blue. Update on our turnovers for the year. They got one against Green Bay. That gets them up to 20 on the year, back into sixth place. Yes, that's huge. And the top 10, top 5 offense and defense, second in offense, first in scoring, 10th in defense, second in points per game, first in third down conversions continues to be the way for the Lions. So that's great to see. And then in terms of the NFL, we had week 14, obviously. This was probably one of the less exciting weeks of the year for sure, in terms of matchups at least. Jaguars beat the Titans. That one has nothing. Dolphins and Jets at least produced a fun game. But
as
the Dolphins
we predicted much earlier in the season, the Jets are eliminated from playoff contention.
Yeah, we've been way ahead on that one, but yes, today officially, the numbers did come in. Jets eliminated. Falcons did not beat the Vikings, which is not great. Really hope for a Kirk Cousins revenge game in Minnesota. Didn't happen. Didn't pan out. Saints beat the Giants. Eagles beat the Panthers, but boy, was that one a lot closer than the spread was indicating, with a 13-point favorite Eagles team coming into that one at home. Panthers gave them a scare, and Panthers had an opportunity for a big catch there, down 6 inside the 5-yard line there, and it was dropped. So that basically lost them the game. That's tough. Really could have used an Eagles loss there, but we hope it's coming next week against the Steelers. Speaking of the Steelers got their revenge against the Browns. They win at home. Buccaneers continue to climb. Andrew, you said it in our group chat. Are the Bucs the team that nobody wants to play right now?
Don't want to meet up with them in the playoffs, man. They're a tough team.
Yeah, and handed the Lions their one sole loss of the year, and they also beat the Eagles. So they've beat the 2 top teams in the NFC, and so that alone is scary enough. But they are climbing the ranks, especially with the Falcons' loss today. They are neck and neck for that division, and Bucs don't have too bad of a schedule. They do have to play the Chargers, I think, next week or the following. So that one's a tough one for them. However, Falcons probably going to lose some more games. So at this point, if you're a Bucs fan, you got to feel pretty good about their odds to make the playoffs. If they win all but one game, I think they can win that division. Cardinals falling off in the NFC West. Seahawks get the win there, as predicted by Papa. Bills just lost to the Rams, so that has implications for the Lions next week in that matchup. 49ers beat the Bears, even with the interim head coach bump wasn't happening. So all of us sitting at 7-4 with those results. Yeah, big matchup for the Lions next week against the Bills. That's going to be on everybody's television. CBS will have that one, so we'll have Romo and Nance again. I think I've got it in the notes, and we'll talk about it next time. But do you guys remember what Jim Nance said about the Bills-Lions game, on the Thanksgiving broadcast that they did for the Lions and Bears? He saw, obviously the Bills tradition is to jump through the tables, right? That's what they're known for. That's what their brand is. He said he would do that for this matchup.
Okay.
Which is kind of crazy.
Get the letters started. Hold them to
it. This game's in Detroit, obviously, but Bills fans are going to be coming out, obviously. So how many times can I say obviously? So it's something to watch for. Jim Nance is not a young, spry guy.
Not at all.
He may miss the broadcast if he does that. All right. Anything else from Lions Packers or Week 14, guys?
Shout out Jaden Reed.
Yeah, shout out to Jaden Reed. 0 catches, 0 yards. Not a great performance. Last thing. Shout out to Beale City for winning a state championship in Division 8 football. A huge win there in the state championships. Get their, Andrew, correct me if I'm wrong, their 3rd state championship. Is that correct?
That sounds
in
about
football.
right.
In football,
Yep.
obviously they've had
Yeah,
some other
football.
some others,
Sounds
but
right.
shout out to that team, man. That was one of the best Beale City football teams we've seen for sure. The way they won that game in convincing fashion was impressive, and shout out to those guys. That was a fun game to watch.
And a lot of young guys, so probably, hopefully, a lot of success to follow too.
Yeah, promising future. Future looks bright for that team, and competitive as always. All right, so we'll be back on Wednesday. We've had 2 short weeks, 2 Thursday games in a row. Lions finally back on a Sunday game, so we'll have walkthrough Wednesday in our usual time slot there, and we'll preview Bills Lions, which a lot of people are calling potentially Super Bowl preview. So that's going to have eyes, even with the Bills' loss to the Rams this week. There'll still be a lot of implications on this game for both these teams, and it surely will be a fun one in the 4 o'clock window on CBS. So we'll preview that on Wednesday. We will all be back. Like us, follow, rate us 5 stars on Spotify and Apple. Like us on YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube. We're always on YouTube as well. And follow us on TikTok if you want to get heated in the comment section along with us and fight some of those battles for us. Let's go, Lions. 4 games remaining in the regular season.
Meow.